Hello, I'm Frank Hanaway, and welcome to Big Journey, Small Steps. Well, today I want to talk to you about the sworn enemy of every Alzheimer's patient and their caregivers, the clock. Yes, it's true. The clock is the sworn enemy of those suffering from Alzheimer's. My mother watches the clock. She even had, it's not working right now, thank God, a projection clock so that she could see it all night. And she is sleeping better now that that's gone. It just quit working. I didn't take it away. I didn't think of it, actually, until just a second. But that's taken care of. It makes it so difficult for her. She's anxious all the time about what the next thing is. I guess she's afraid she'll forget to do it. She'll repeat it over and over again. She'll ask me 5 times in a row what we're doing today, what time are we leaving for that, even though we're doing the same things we've done for the past 4 years. And leaving at the same time we always leave. So I went through a really rough period where it was getting really hard for me to repeat it past the 10th time. And then it got to the point where I didn't even want to say. I just try to avoid it. And I still do that. Sometimes I just try to change the subject to something else. So we're not just talking about scheduling. But then once she gets somewhere, she's anxious. And I really mean that anxious. She has anxiety about when we're going to get into that appointment. Now, if you can think of a worse place to be feeling like that than in a doctor's office, oh, maybe the Department of Motor Vehicles. Oh, we did that too. I ought to find that picture somewhere. I had a picture that I fractured in Photoshop a few years ago because she had to go to the Department of Motor Vehicles. It turned out I could have done it myself, but I didn't realize that. We had to go down and get her handicap parking sticker. So anyway, that was just a nightmare. You know how long you sit there. But doctors' offices are just as bad. And until recently, we were at a primary care where we have actually been there. One time we were there for 3 hours when she was so sick she couldn't stand up and they had no place for her to lie down. We couldn't get her up on the examination beds are too high. It's so interesting because in the medical field, people know what the symptoms are and they know that people are going to have trouble waiting, but then they're real belligerent about it. And they haven't been with me, but I've had doctors tell me how upset they get when they've had husbands come in and say, my wife is going to leave if we can't get in, and the doctors say, well, we've got patients sicker than she is, but they don't really. I mean, who else's brain is in atrophy and you're cognizant that something is changing, slipping away. So anyway, so this week I wrote down everything and when we were leaving, everything we had to do, and I put it on there, and it seems to be working a little better. And then one time she asked me and I just didn't respond. I changed the subject. It must be miserable. My parents were always terminally punctual. I mean, they would show up. My father was known to show up at things an hour early because he didn't want to miss anything, which you have to be really good friends with somebody to show up their place an hour early. I had a friend one time about the repetition. I had a friend one time who had an accident on a bicycle, and I went with he and his wife to the hospital, and he kept saying the same things and asking the same questions for 24 hours, and she was just over it. And I was able then to sit there and just answer the questions again over and over and over and over. Somewhere along the line, my ability to do that has become diminished. I think maybe, I think you have a sense of detachment with other people than you do with your family. And, you know, your family's where you practice tough love. Come on and do it. Just do it. Get up. Do it. Forget that. Don't say that. You know, we do all that kind of stuff. And my family did. We're Irish. We can always find what's wrong with you. So anyway, this is kind of a ramble, but I hope it was a little bit humorous. Hope you're having a great week. It was a nice long 4th weekend for most people. My days are pretty much the same, holiday or no holiday. Thank you for spending time with me today. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you peace and joy.